Hi everyone and welcome back. In the last video, we took our first step into parsing by working with XML in Python. Now it's time to turn our focus to a data format that you will see everywhere, especially when working with APIs or modern automation tools, and that is JSON. In this video, we are going to learn how to read JSON data in Python and extract useful information using Python's built-in tools. We will go through an example JSON file that could easily represent configuration or status data from a network device, and then parse it step by step into native Python data structure like dictionaries and lists. So as always, you will find a link to the sample code and resources in the description below. So first things first, we have a couple of files as you can see on the screen. The first file is network_devices.json, and the second file on the right hand side is parse_network_devices.py. So the JSON file is a structured representation of a small network. It includes multiple devices like routers, switches, and firewalls, along with some key details about each, such as IP addresses, interface names, and their status. So now let's break it down. So the top level structure, as you can see on the screen, we are starting with a dictionary that has a single key, and that key is devices. The value of devices is a list, which means we are expecting multiple items. And in this case, each item in the list represents a network device. Now, so each item in the devices list is a dictionary, or in JSON terms, an object that holds details about one network device. So let's break that down further. So the host name is just the name of the device, and in this case it's just router1 or R1. The IP_address is the device's main IP address. Likely it's the management interface or a loopback interface. The device_type helps us categorize the device itself. This could also be switch or firewall, etc, etc. Next is the location, and the location here is just a human-friendly note where it tells you where the device actually lives physically or logically in your infrastructure. After that, we are going to tackle the interfaces, and as you can see, the interfaces is a list of network interfaces, and each element within the list is a dictionary that includes, for example, the name of the interface where it's labeled like gig ethernet 0/0. We can also see the IP address and the status for each interface. So moving to the second device now, here we have a switch named switch1 located at the branch office, and it has a couple of fast ethernet ports. You can see that both are up and both marked with IP not applicable because switch access ports often don't have IPs themselves. Finally, the firewall device, and this firewall is located at the headquarters, and it has an external public IP address on Ethernet 0 that has an IP address of 203.0.113.1, and also it has an IP address on the Ethernet 1 interface which has 10.0.0.1 IP address, and you can see that both interfaces are in the up state. So again, instead of writing the code line by line in real time, I have prepared it in advance so I can walk you through how it works, break it down, and explain why it is structured the way it is. So it is important to understand how this code is written and try to create your own code and follow your code to understand it. You also could deviate from my code to enhance it further. So with that being said, let's break the code down step by step. So the first step is we need to import the JSON module. This line is short but essential. It pulls in the Python's built-in JSON module, which gives us the ability to read from and write to JSON files. In this context, it's what allows us to load the structured data from our network_devices.json file and turn it into Python dictionaries and lists. Without this, we couldn't work with the JSON data in any meaningful way. The second step is we are defining the parse_network network underscore devices function. And this is where the main logic starts. We are defining a reasonable function that accepts one input, the path to the JSON file. So instead of putting all the logic in the main part of the script, wrapping it in a function like this is cleaner, more modular, and is easier to test. If later on you want to read from a different file, you can just call this function with a new file path. So next we are going to open and loading the JSON file. So inside a try block, which we are using for safe error handling, the script opens the file using with statement. That just ensures the file is properly closed when we are done with it. We then pass the open file to json.load, which reads the file and converts its content from raw JSON into Python objects. At this point, data should be a dictionary if the file is structured correctly. And then after that, we validate the data structure. So we say once the file is loaded, we immediately check if there is a key called devices. This is what we expect the top level structure of the JSON to include. If it's missing, we will raise a key error with a clear message so that user knows what's wrong. After that, we assign the data to the variable devices and double check that it's a list. That's important because the rest of the script will iterate over this variable. And if it isn't a list, that iteration would fail. So this is just defensive coding to keep the program stable. So once we are done with that, we will then return the parsed data. So if everything checks out, the file exists, the JSON loads correctly, and the structure is valid, we then return the list of device dictionaries to whoever called the function. So this is the happy path where nothing went wrong. So if something does go wrong at any point inside the try block, we then catch it in the relevant except blocks. So for example, if the file path is wrong or the file's missing, we show a friendly message to the end user. If the JSON is poorly formatted, maybe if someone forgot a comma or a closing brace, that's code 2. The last two except blocks catch structural issues or anything else unexpected. In all error cases, we return an empty list to prevent the script from crashing later on. This kind of layered error handling is especially helpful if you are using this function inside a larger automation tool or web app. You get readable errors and safe behavior. Okay, so moving down to the main execution block, and you can see in line number 28, this is the entry point of the script. It only runs when the script is executed directly, not when imported as a module elsewhere. Okay, so I'm going to expand the view. So at this point, once we received the data from the parse underscore network underscore devices, we then parse it into devices, and we then check if devices variable isn't an empty list. We then loop through each device and print its details in a clean format. Each device has some top level fields like hostname, device type, an IP address, and location, followed by a list of interfaces. So for each interface, we print its name, status, and IP address. So the device.getInterfaces part is also a nice touch. It means that if for some reason a device has no interfaces key, the script won't crash. It will just skip over that part. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and execute the script. And as you can see, when we executed the script, we managed to parse all the network devices data. So you can see the first section where the host name is R1, the type is router, the IP address is 192.168.1.1, and you can see also the location is located in data center A. The interfaces are Gig Ethernet 00 and Gig Ethernet 01. One is up and the other one is down. The second device is switch 1. You can see the type is switch and the IP address, the location, and the interfaces. Finally, we also can see the host name for the firewall. You can see the type, the IP address, and also their location, as well as the interfaces. So that's it for this video. I hope it was informative for you. And if you found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn notifications so you never miss our future tutorials and tech insights. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to drop a comment below. And to read more about this topic, make sure to check out my blog. You will find the link in the description below. And remember, consistency and hands-on practice are key to success. So stay curious, stay inspired, and until next time, peace.